Coming up on WFT's First at 5, the Alachua County Public School Board voted to fire the current superintendent. What the next steps are after this major decision.
And federal agencies are helping those impacted by Hurricanes Helene and Milton, with millions of dollars of aid spread throughout the southeastern United States.
Plus, Helene and Milton have led to fuel and supply shortages that have left many Florida communities reeling. How government officials are addressing the lack of resources and helping affected areas. WFT's First at 5 starts now.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications. You're watching WUFT News.
Alachua County Public Schools is now without its top educator after he was fired during last night's school board meeting. This is WFT's First at 5. I'm Jamie Goldman.
And I'm Carolina Tortorelli, filling in for Charlize Ramos. This makes the 7th superintendent to leave the job in the last decade. WFT's Jada Ross is live at ACPS headquarters. Jada, you spoke with district officials about what this means for school board moving forward.
This is the Alachua County Public School District's 6th superintendent in 10 years, and the board is getting ready to select their 7th. The board is evaluating Shane Andrew ahead of new leadership needing to be determined. As some board members say, the district is getting drawn into too many things that do not directly impact or help children in the classroom. Groups like the Florida School Boards Association will assist the district in conducting their search. But a former superintendent believes the logistics of securing the position need to change. Alachua County Public Schools have seen many new faces in the superintendent office over the last decade, which raises concerns on if they can keep stability in the district's highest position. Superintendent Andrews' termination will go into effect November 15th. The board is having an emergency meeting next week to determine the superintendent that is going to hold the interim position while they search for a permanent replacement. I'm at ACPS's headquarters. Jada Ross, WUFT News.
The Alachua County School District has been notified of an outbreak of chickenpox at the Alachua Learning Academy Charter School. As of now, there are no other reported cases, but families and staff of other schools in the district have been cautioned. Chickenpox can be spread through the air and touch, and symptoms include a rash of itchy blisters and fever. The chickenpox vaccine is available in the city of Alachua at the Florida Department of Health.
The fall temperatures are settling in today, and it's only expected to get even cooler. UF forecaster Matthew Clark is tracking down the cool down and how long it will last.
Yeah, it sure does feel good to get a break from the summer and those hot dew point temperatures. Look at this. Tomorrow morning when we're waking up, we're in the 40s. This is right before sunrise. 46 degrees in Gainesville, 43 in Lake City, and 42 in Live Oak. So it's going to be really chilly tomorrow morning. Going to steadily start to heat up as we head into the weekend, though. Lows still going to be in the 60s. Right now, though, on our campus cam, 67 degrees. Feels every bit of 67 degrees. Getting some pretty gusty winds from the north, around 24 miles per hour, giving us a little bit of a wind chill for our Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures across most part of the state, though, still in the upper 60s for the most part. 67 in Stark and 65 over in Lake City. Beautiful afternoon.
A tractor-trailer crash and fire is slowing down the evening commute on I-75 in Marion County. This is a live look at the backup near the County Road 484 exit. The Florida Highway Patrol says 2 semis were in the center lane in stop-and-go traffic when the third semi crashed into the back of the second, which caused it to crash into the first trailer. The first trailer collided with the guardrail and then caught fire. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the northbound right lane is closed while crews clean up the wreckage.
Federal organizations are responding to citizen needs after Hurricanes Helene and Milton caused significant damage throughout the southeastern United States. FEMA has approved over $620 million, including $16 million to assist individuals and communities affected by the hurricane. The U.S. Small Business Administration has offered over $48 million in possible disaster loan funding to survivors of Helene and Milton. The administration also has hundreds of staff working in communities across 6 states and 48 disaster recovery centers. For individual assistance related to Hurricane Helene, approved funding includes more than $213 million for 71,000 survivors in Florida, over $119 million for survivors in Georgia, and around $250 million of assistance among 4 other states.
The rest of the country is starting to feel the impacts left behind by Hurricanes Milton and Helene. The storms have caused a shortage on everyday products, and the Biden administration is invoking the Defense Production Act because the nation's IV fluid supply is critically low. Its biggest producer is in North Carolina, where a large portion of the state is drying out after severe flooding from Helene. And in Florida, officials said they're working with ports to restore the fuel supply. Thousands of Floridians in the Tampa area say gas is still scarce nearly a week after Hurricane Milton tore through the area. Governor DeSantis says they are working around the clock to get the people the supplies that they need.
We have now dispensed, just from the state, over 2.5 million gallons of gas free to the people of Florida.
Meanwhile, the Small Business Administration's disaster loan program is out of money, officials say. That's after about 49,000 recent applications. They say people can still apply, and Congress can approve more funds after its recess.
There may be people looking to take advantage of you in the wake of Hurricane Milton. If you're considering donating to hurricane relief charities, state officials urge you to beware of potential scams. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody issued a consumer alert to Floridians wanting to donate to hurricane victims. In it, she reminds you that scammers use relief efforts as opportunities for personal gain. It's incredibly important that you verify your money is going to the right place. You can do this by visiting websites like give.org or verify a charity's existence. You can also research how a charity uses donations or review a charity's name to be safe. In an email, Alachua County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Art Forgy agreed with Moody's advice. He said, "I think the tip she is providing are perfect. We also direct people to the Federal Trade Commission scams page for the latest scam trends. You can access that page at consumer.ftc.gov.
Marion County will begin collecting tree and vegetative debris today following Hurricane Milton. Collection will begin with major road networks. Residents are encouraged to put debris at the edge of the roadway away from trees, power lines, and fire hydrants. The deadline to place debris out for pickup is Sunday, October 27th. There are also 3 citizen debris drop-off sites which are open now until October 27th from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. There are 2 locations in Ocala and 1 in Bellevue. Visit the Ocala/Marion County Facebook page for more information.
Parents, if your teens are ready to hit the road, spots are still available for Alachua County's upcoming Teen Driver Challenge. This free advanced driving class is designed to help students become safer and more confident drivers. The challenge will be held on October 26th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Participants must be at least 15 years old, have a valid learner's license, and bring their own vehicle. Advanced registration is required. You can email teen drivers at acso.us to reserve a seat.
October is National Pedestrian Safety Month, and Citrus County Sheriff's Office is reminding pedestrians and motorists how to be safe on the road. CCSO shared that in 2022, there were 10,013 pedestrian-related crashes, with 765 fatalities in Florida alone. Pedestrians should walk on sidewalks whenever possible and walk facing traffic if a sidewalk is unavailable. Avoid distractions like phones and headphones, and always use the crosswalks. For motorists, always look out for pedestrians and slow down near crosswalks, especially in residential areas.
The Florida Department of Health in Marion County has lifted the health alert for harmful algae toxins in Silver Glen Springs. Blue-green algae is a bacteria common in Florida freshwater, and it is most frequent in summer and fall. Although the public should still be careful, the EPA did not find any algae toxins in the water samples. The Florida Department of Health and the Marion County Commission are partnering to provide free breast cancer screening. The free 3D mammograms are available next Wednesday, October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Mary Sue Rich Community Center. The event is open to all women, regardless of insurance status. Election season is heating up as national and local elections are just 3 weeks away. Coming up, we'll share how the Florida Senate race is looking and which party is expected to take the lead.
Plus, as the 2024 presidential election approaches, former President Trump and Vice President Harris are targeting key voter demographics. When First at 5 returns, why women and undecided voters are important parts of current campaigns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
As time runs down to Election Day, both candidates are shifting their focus on key demographic voters. Former President Trump is addressing women voters, and 100 Republicans join Vice President Harris as she courts disaffected GOP and undecided voters. And as Bree Jackson reports, this all comes as Election Day is now less than 3 weeks away.
With just 20 days until Election Day, both candidates are ramping up outreach efforts. Former President Trump attempting to appeal to women voters during a Fox News town hall. The overturning of Roe v. Wade remains a top concern for some.
Why is the government involved in women's basic rights?
This issue has torn this country apart for 52 years, so we got it back in the states.
Mr. Trump doubling down on his divisive rhetoric, painting Democrats as the enemy within.
They're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists.
Vice President Harris taking a different approach, seeking to reach across the aisle to Republican voters in Pennsylvania, while criticizing her opponent.
Donald Trump is increasingly unstable, and as has been said by the people who have worked closely with him, even when he was president, he's not fit to be president of the United States.
Both candidates working to mobilize voters.
We're going to do the work. That's about knocking on doors and calling people and emailing.
As soon as you can, go to the polls and vote.
Many Americans are casting their ballot before November 5th.
Why did you vote early this year?
Honestly, because Donald Trump told me to.
What made it an easy decision?
Sanity versus insanity, criminal versus prosecutor.
More than 300,000 showed up for the first day of early in-person voting in Georgia, doubling 2020 numbers. Record-breaking turnout in a razor-thin race. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Republicans will likely maintain a majority in the Florida Senate, as most state races are not competitive this year. One exception is a North Florida race between GOP State Senator Corey Simon and Democratic challenger Darrell Parks, a prominent trial lawyer. Simon and Parks have clashed on the abortion issue, which has dominated much of the 2024 campaign season. The candidates disagree about a Florida ballot proposal Amendment 4 that tackles abortion rights within the state.
The problem with Amendment 4 is it goes too far. It goes too far in gutting parental consent from our families. It goes too far when we talk about the possibility of using taxpayer dollars to fund them. It goes too far.
My vision for my daughters is that they have the right to choose and make medical decisions with their doctor, and I strongly believe that.
The Senate district is anchored by Leon County, but does include 12 mostly conservative rural counties.
Marion County Animal Services is asking for your help to stock up on supplies for its shelter. They are in immediate need of newspapers and canned pate-style cat food, which can be dropped off at their shelter in Ocala. The full wish list can be found on the Marion County Animal Service Facebook page. Plus, a new animal shelter is opening up in Marion County later this month. Marion County Animal Services is hosting a groundbreaking event on Wednesday, October 30th. The 3-hour event is open to the public and will begin at 10 a.m. Parking can be found behind the Marion Alachua Dog Training Association.
We woke up in the 60s today, and we're going to be waking up in the 40s tomorrow. I'll have that cool down and more coming up next after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
We woke up in the 60s this morning, seeing 60 in Gainesville, 57 in Lake City, and the further north we went, the colder those temperatures were. Saw some 30s in the southeast. Now this cold temperature is going to start to creep its way down here. Keep an eye on this high pressure system here. That's what's going to be bringing down all this cold air. Freezing temperatures in Cincinnati. We're not going to be close to those freezing temperatures, but we are going to be in the 40s, getting a taste of that fall weather. That high pressure system slowly starting to move its way towards the east, pushing that north wind down towards our area. Fall-like temperatures in our area this weekend and into early parts of next week before the high pressure system eventually moves to the northeast, bringing in some northeast winds, kind of getting back into our regular pattern. The dew points, though, is what's low right now. taking advantage of that on our Wednesday evening right now. Beautiful blue skies overlooking our campus cam right now. Gusty winds right now, 24 miles per hour, giving us a little bit of a wind chill this evening. So even though it's 67 degrees, if you get a little gust of wind, it's feeling a little bit cooler. 65 over in Lake City, 66 in Stark, and 70 degrees in Jacksonville. Just a beautiful evening. Those temperatures are going to start to drop as we head into the overnight hours, dropping into the 50s before eventually going into the 40s. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, that's when those temperatures are going to be their coldest that we've seen this fall. And hopefully those temperatures are going to get colder as we make the way into November and December. But waking up 46 degrees in Gainesville, 43 in Lake City, and 42 up in Live Oak. So this is jacket weather. It's a great break of a thing that we've been experiencing from the summer. Next storm would be Nadine. We do have an end name next on the list. Do have two systems out in the Atlantic right now. Hurricane season is until November 30th, so we still do have that. Now, I'm not really too concerned about this area. Still going to be watching it. One of the models have it just kind of moving through our area. High pressure system staying over the East Coast is what's acting as the blocking pressure. So that high pressure system is going to be pushing all that moisture off into the North Atlantic, the 20% area down in the Western Caribbean, just kind of moving off into the Yucatan Peninsula. Homecoming parade on our Friday. Temperatures are going to be beautiful for that as well. Hardly a cloud in the sky just before, and it's a blue sky and an orange sun for our Friday homecoming day parade. Waking up tomorrow again in those 40s before we start to heat up again as we head into the weekend with highs just in the low 80s. But you see those constant temperatures in the lows in the 60s. So it's going to be a beautiful next handful of days.
Coming up in sports, the Jacksonville Jaguars' plans to renovate their stadium were officially approved. When we come back, we will tell you what this remodel plan means for Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and what could happen with the annual Florida-Georgia game. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Miguel Molina. The Jacksonville Jaguars have officially doubled down on Duval County. The team announced yesterday that they will be renovating their stadium. However, the biggest question still remains, where will the Jags play when their stadium is being renovated? WFT's Ben McLeish is live outside of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium with some insight.
The new stadium deal means the Jaguars will be playing in Jacksonville for at least another 30 years. But the deal's impact spreads far outside of Jacksonville. The Jaguars might be playing right here in Gainesville in just 3 years. Renovations for the new stadium will begin next year and will be finished for the 2028 NFL season. The Jaguars will continue to play in Everbank Stadium under reduced capacity until 2027. Then they will need a temporary new home. Gainesville and Orlando are the two cities in the running to host the team. Regardless of where the Jags decide to play, the Gators football team will have to make some decisions of their own. The Florida-Georgia rivalry game is played at Everbank Stadium every year, but it will need a new home, at least while the stadium is being renovated. Jags president Mark Lamping said he will make a decision on the team's new home following the NFL season. Reporting live from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Ben McLeish, WUFT Sports.
Well, I mean, it seems that there might be some big changes coming to Gainesville in the near future, but let's take a moment to focus on the present because local high school playoff volleyball is ongoing and the games are failing to disappoint. Last night, Peking took on McLeish in the 2A District 1 semifinals. The game was back and forth to start with both teams splitting the first two sets, but the Marauders dominated the third set, winning it 25-9. However, the Blue Wave did not lose their tide as they bounced back in the fourth and took full control of the fifth set, sealing the game with a 3-2 with a kill. Peking now moves on to the finals where they will face Oak Hall on Thursday. The Eagles are coming off a dominant 3-0 semifinal win against Rocky Bayou Christian. Tip-off for this finals matchup is set for 7 p.m. at Oak Hall. Here are some other playoff games going on in the area tomorrow night. Santa Fe hosts Crystal River in the 4A District 5 finals. Trenton and Chiefland battle for the Rural District 7 title. Finally, in the Rural District 6 final, Union County will play Branford at Dixie County High School. March Madness may still be a while away, but the hype for college basketball season is starting to heat up. Yesterday, the Florida Gators men's basketball team traveled to Birmingham, Alabama to participate in the SEC Media Days. To represent the Orange and Blue, Florida Center senior guard Walter Clayton Jr. and new graduate transfer Elijah Martin, as well as head coach Todd Golden. There's been a buzz going around Gainesville with this basketball team as Florida was ranked number 21 in the country in the recent AP preseason poll. However, head coach Todd Golden would be disappointed if that's the ceiling for Florida.
You know, we appreciate the respect that we're receiving from the AP, and it means a lot to us, but unless we're better than that at the end of the year, we're going to think of it as being a disappointing year.
The basketball team will next take the court on November 4th as they play USF in the Jacksonville Sports Foundation Invitational. One final note, Game 3 of the WNBA Finals is tonight. The series is tied 1-1 between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx. Tip-off for that game is set for 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Hopefully Sabrina can get her first ring. WNBA Finals heating up.
Like you said, she's hot right now. You know, they look good. They look really good.
But the weather in Gainesville is cold, Matthew.
Yeah, so when we're waking up tomorrow, we're going to see lows in the 40s, which is the coldest so far this fall, before we start to steadily heat up this weekend. But we still do have beautiful weather on Saturday and Sunday with highs in the 80s and lows constantly throughout the 60s. Going to be a beautiful next handful of days.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WFT.org and all of our social media platforms. Have a good night.